All right, let's get ready for this evening's paint session here. We're gonna. This paint session, actually, we're almost done. We're actually almost done with this painting. I think. I don't think we're gonna give it a full, total finish, as we might with other paintings. I'm probably gonna keep it with this looseness. I really just gotta add a few more details here, and we will be on our way to excellence. Excellence. That is the name of the game. Excellence. Creation of excellence. That was the painting that I destroyed. All right. Whew. Let's get with this painting, baby. Let's get this painting going.
Just baby.
Everyone in the world. Huh?
Okay, that's weird.
Yeah, baby, let's go. Yeah, baby. Austin Powers. All right, let's see. We were working with. I want to work with some smaller brushes now for these details. Let's get this brush, and let's see.
All the challenged kitties must eat. Babies, paralyzed cats, and thyroid afflicted cats eat.
And let's see. What brushes do we want to work with? These three look like some solid brushes. All right, so we're gonna work with these three brushes here: Rosemary & Co. and a Princeton. And maybe, you know what, let's grab one of these brushes just to get some little fluffy designs here. Let's grab some yellow here.
Stop. Hey, Sprout. Stop eating.
I just want to capture the variety of textures all around here.
No. Sprout is licking up the grease.
And this brush probably won't do the job, so. I want to keep it loose. Give this painting a cohesive feel, not switching too many different styles. So what's a good brush for that? Let's go with this. I want to find that flat brush again. What is that flat brush? Is this it? Nope, that's not it. What was that flat brush I was just using an hour ago? Go.
Hey.
Nope. This brush does
Hey.
not need to go in there.
Stop. Sprout.
This is it. Yes, here we go. So we're actually going for three brushes. Rosalys, what's going on? Why am I so cool, but almost nobody subscribed to me? That's a good question. Well, you mean like follow or subscribe? You can subscribe to this channel if you want to. But thank you for giving me a compliment. Thank you for the wonderful compliment, Rose. And we will keep this painting up. So here we go. We're going to go in with a ochre. And I want to reduce the, this is kind of flat, these trees. You never see trees like this. There's always like a couple things that pop up here. So I want to capture that. I want to capture some of this, like, these like little bits and pieces of trees that tend to pop up here. Just going with a smaller brush here. Let's go with a brighter green here and just. That's a good question, though. I don't know why more people don't follow. I think I have a great following, though. I have a few people that are just absolutely amazing people, and sometimes you really don't need that many, right? Like sometimes you just don't need that many followers. You just don't, right? Like making content is one thing, but as far as like the artwork is concerned, sometimes you really only need like a few hundred people until you find the ones that want to buy your art, that want to support your channel, either financially or even just watching your channel a lot. There's all sorts of ways to support a channel. And you really don't need millions, hundreds of thousands. It helps. I'm not saying it doesn't help, but it's not always necessary. I definitely think that, at least for art, if you're doing art, now if you're doing something like gaming or prank videos, then yes, you need lots and lots and lots of followers. But it's also easier to get followers if you do those types of videos. But I think if you're making art, the one great thing about art, here's a secret that that might inspire someone to do art live streams, is that you only need a few people to be like, hey, yeah, no, I love your live stream, I'd love to buy your artwork. And there you go, you have a product that you don't have to stress about, like, oh, well, am I getting viral views, right? Yes, if you get viral views, you'll probably find someone quicker, but I don't have that pressure. I don't have that like I have to get viral views in order to build up my account, right? I don't have to get viral views in order to get recognized, so that you're only dependent on content. That would be really difficult. So that's one great thing about painting and art, is that if you stream artwork, you're not totally dependent on it. So it's great. So Amit, what's up? Amit has subscribed. I do have by the way, I do have a premium subscription. If any of you want to join, you get a premium subscription. You get a nice little logo next to your name and special highlight on your message. That's very affordable. Very affordable for those of you that just want to give a little extra support to YouTube. And yes, that is available. Or if you want to get something out of it too, there is you can go into the links, and there are various products that you can buy or work and purchase or whatever that could be very useful to you, such as a free Amazon Audible membership or a free trial membership to Amazon Audible. That's very helpful. So just looking to build up some of these colors here. I'm not going for total accuracy, just little touches here and there. Just little pops of color. And my goal is to make this look less flat and really just you know, get these leaves and these sections to have some more shape. Because it was looking a little flat before. These trees were just like looking totally the same dimension. Now let's go into these dark blues right now, and I want to try to make some of these overlap here. So, you know, we're gonna go in here and just build up some dark blue shadow just to give it some good overlap. Let's get a dark blue, dark green, brown. Just to have some overlap here, just to create some dimension. And this one, you know, the under the part of the tree is going to have some more shadow. So this actually makes sense just to create some separation here. And I could go for like a totally flat look, but that's not really what I want to do. And just that extra bit of shadow underneath really helps to separate some of the space here. So we're gonna come like this, and you know, just bring in some of these darker areas just slightly underneath here. That helps to like separate some of the trees and everything. And let's see, we're gonna come into here. We're gonna build up some of these colors right now. Go into here, we got a lot of the canvas showing through right now. So I want to tighten that up. I want to add in some dark greens. Let's go like this. Let's add in these dark greens here on top, just layered. It's okay if they're a little dark. Let's see what I could do about these sections. I mean, these trees look pretty good. Maybe add a couple more branches throughout. Let me see. I'm gonna grab some of this branch color here. Let's just bring this up. I'm just gonna go bring up a little bit. Bring up this and come up here around. Add these reds in. We go underneath a little bit. Add some branches just to add some detail. And let's see how we're going to do this. How we're going to navigate the rest of this painting. So in order to navigate the rest of this painting, what I'm really aiming to do is, you know, I've already created this like under texture. So I'm trying to think. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out how I want to navigate the rest of this painting. To be honest, that's why I don't have a definitive answer yet. I'm sure that's what people want, but I don't have a definitive answer. So I don't know exactly how we're going to navigate this. So let me just paint over a couple areas first, like that. Add some reds into our dirt color. Let's clean this brush off, I think. I'm gonna clean this brush off. They've been napping for like the past 5 hours. So they're ready for some playtime. So they said the buff one is the one that got neutered, Sprout?
Yeah.
Because he seems to have way more energy and be putting on way more weight than the Cheeto.
I know. You can tell if you look at the walls.
Well, I haven't done that, but it's so cute. Look, they're hanging around Scout. Like Scout's like his dad.
Big brother.
Yes, he has. Oh, so cute. Kitties, kittens, they're the cutest. All right, now what are we gonna do? Still figuring that out. I don't really know. I just like, as I'm looking at it, I'm making decisions on the go. So Amit, how's it going? So Amit also does portraits, by the way. I followed each other on Instagram the other day. Very, very grateful to see some of his work. So for all these different leaves, I want really I'm thinking 3 different brushes to capture the different leaf designs. And hopefully this is enough. But let's start first with our, a purple. So we're going to start with this nice deep purple design here. So how are we going to get purple? Let's go mix our pink into our ultramarine blue. And this will hopefully give us a good shade of purple. I want to get this purple. I want to get the shadow side of the purple. Maybe it needs a bit more red. Maybe some. Let's grab some red here. Yeah, let me grab some red. We're gonna have to finally throw down some red here. Let's go. You know what? Let's use our. This is Michael Harding paint. So this is Scarlet Lake Series 2, number 205. Just one of these small 205 milliliter tubes. I'm gonna mix the red in here. Let's go. Let's just grab a little chunk of this red, separate it from the others. We got a nice deep purple going. All right, so let's go. Let's see. This color might be too brown. Let's see. I'm gonna lay a little dab right here. No, that's like a dark purple. We could go with that. And then let's go with a pink around the side here. So we're going to build up our pink along this side. So grab some more pink here. And then let's add a nice white highlight along the top. Let's go. Nice white highlight just coming around the side here. These ever so slight highlight. And honestly, I don't think it stands out enough. I think we might need to go with a deeper blue. Let's go grab this ultramarine that almost pretty much stands out as a purple. This will help us. There we go. That actually helps a little bit. Let's go like this. So Let's bring some more of this shadow purple. Where'd my purple go? There we go. We're gonna bring a little bit more of this purple into this. Let's bring it into the edge here. So we're really just starting to build up some different shapes here. So let's go with this dark blue purple. And let's build up our next one here. So I think this one is also going to be the same thing. So we're going to go find another one. Oh yeah, this needs to be in a group of 3. So we're gonna do the same thing, grab this. Let's get a nice big group of 3 here. So we're gonna bring this down and so that's a nice deep purple. Let's go for this next one. This next one actually comes right down here too. So we're gonna come down like this, bring it around town. And there we go. And now let's build up our pink. So we're gonna use a little bit of a pink to build up a different section here. Let's use our pink here. Let's use our pink right into here. Get a nice big chunk right in there. If you don't use your paint, you're going to lose it, so you might as well. And then we're just going to take our white, and then we're just going to build around, capture the light. The light's coming from this side. It's all consistent. So just to keep it consistent, the light's going to come from a certain angle here. And right now I'm thinking I can actually make this look even better. If I do it with more consistency, each of these little brush strokes, I could probably make it look better. So let me see. Let's go in with this dark blue. We're just going to get some nice thick layers of paint here. Let's just go let's get a nice consistency of look here. Of design. That's what we're going for. Design consistency here. Not like total accuracy, but just enough to make things look a little different. think each of these has like little white flowers that stick out of it. And let's go. Let's start to, you know what, we got 3 of these. Let's go 2 more small ones. I think these smaller ones are just growing. I got a couple of them that are just growing, so like, we're gonna go like, let's go like right over here. Just add little pops of color. And then, you know, I can't actually see them in the image, so I just want to add little pops of color here. Let's just see how this builds up together here. And right now, I'm kind of just like trusting my own judgment, because, you know, what I'm seeing in this photo, I don't have it blown up to this size. So I'm really just like taking little color sections that I see and just hoping that it all works out. That it'll create like a compelling image with all these little sections of color. Alright, let's clean off this brush. I think we're done with the purples. Let's find some of our reds here. So we're gonna go with our yellows, I should say. So I want to find our yellows. And how do I do this? So we're gonna grab a bunch of yellows here. So you might be tough because there's so much paint still on this. Let's add a little, you know, let's just start adding little dabs of it. Secret to painting flowers, if I had to say, is to not stress about painting flowers, because that's the beauty of nature, right? Like, although, you know, if you really study nature, you'll find that there's a lot of organization, but at the same time, there's also so much chaos. And whether you decide to, you know, organize it or paint it as chaos, I think you will find you'll find something in between that resonates with you. So we're gonna do let's do a little group of 3 one here. 1, 2, 3, one little group of 3. And then we're gonna come into here, just group of 4 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sometimes it's nice just to add the color. So we're gonna do a little round. One's little groupings like so. And I think if I was someone earlier from my YouTube live stream asked me like, where did I get my inspiration? Where did I get my inspiration for this brushwork? And if I had to say where I get my inspiration, I have to really dig deep and ask where I get my inspiration from brushwork for this right now. I would probably say Bob Ross. Like, Bob Ross if Bob Ross, if you could take anything from Bob Ross, like his technical, I'm not really a big fan of his actual painting style anymore. But if there's anything you could take away from Bob Ross, and again, I love Bob Ross, I love his paintings, grew up on Bob Ross, not criticizing him, but just like, I gotta say, I'm not the biggest fan of his artwork. I am a big fan of Bob Ross though. And that said, I think the biggest takeaway that I've taken at least is, have fun with your paintings. Have fun with the brushwork. Don't stress about it. Don't make it a big deal, right? Like, if you can make something look like something, that is the most important part of your painting. Just make it, just capture the emotion, right? Capture the feeling of whatever it is that you're painting. You don't need you don't need to go all in and paint every single petal. You don't have to paint every single wave on a river, or like every single view on a lake, or every single accurate tree accurately on a mountaintop. You just gotta paint, get it to look like it. And maybe some people might disagree with how I've interpreted Bob Ross. That's fine. But that's my biggest takeaway. Have fun with your paintings. Enjoy your paintings. Don't let it be a stressor. Let it be something that you have fun with. Because when you really, and here's where I'm coming from. So if you really watch Bob Ross, and then you really think about like how real professional painters do nowadays, like the classically taught, classically trained, all those artists, it's totally different, right? Bob Ross, totally different. Every other, all the classically trained artists, they sketch it out, they draw it, and then they paint in every single thing perfectly where it's supposed to be. That's the classical training, right? And Bob Ross's style, it's not his thing. And it didn't need to be his thing. But when I first started painting, that was the biggest shocker to me. That I would like talk to people and be like, yo, don't learn from Bob Ross. Like, that's not real painting. And I was like offended, because I love Bob Ross. I was actually offended when people say, I was like, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know anything. Bob Ross is the king. And you know what? I still feel that way. And I would still feel annoyed when people are like, Bob Ross doesn't, Bob Ross doesn't really paint well. Because he came up with a style. I think that's the thing. More than anything, that's his style. It's a style. That's why it should be as accepted as any. But I was shocked when I first started painting, and people were like, "Don't paint like Bob Ross. He doesn't really teach painting. He just kind of teaches his own style." And I think there's some truth to that now. He has his own style. Let's add some yellow ochres here. Let's try to crisscross, let's try to do some crisscrosses here. Maybe a couple white highlights. Let's see if we can add some. No, we don't need a white highlight. Maybe we bring this into our yellow and just bring that up the color of some of these. There's a big section right here that needs work, so let's go right over here just to fill that in. Let's grab this. Grab some yellow. We're starting with a smaller brush yellow. We're just gonna add some little section right there of color. Let's go. What does that even mean? It just means that's the sound that the brush makes. I don't have an actual definition of what I'm doing besides the fact that I'm just doing stuff with the brush. All right, let's actually go for some pinks now. So, actually, you know what? Let's wrap up with some of this green. So we've got a couple highlights right there, highlight right here. Let's go. Now let's paint some leaves here, just to give the idea of leaves. But you know, I'm not really going for specifics here. So we'll just add different color variation here. Some expressions of color, not really deep detail. Oh, and here we go. Let me throw some more yellow here. So much yellow paint. I might even use this whole dang tube of yellow here. Where's this tube? What? Where's my tube of yellow? Ah, here we go. This tube, large tube of Lucas yellow, 1986 Lucas. It's a 37 milliliter tube. We're almost done with it. We almost used it all. I might even be using it all in this one painting. Who knows? Oh, Lucas. Honestly, don't know too much about the brand, but you know, when I see a nice brand, I usually look it up, and then I see if they have a decent or good reputation. Good to decent. I don't need like the greatest reputation, but I just want a good reputation. And then I look it up, and if it has nice packaging, packaging sells it to me. You know, you gotta like, if you're gonna buy, you know, art supplies from a company, and art, you know, if you're gonna buy art supplies from a company, they gotta have good packaging. It's a must. So we're gonna use our tube key here. We try to just maximize the amount of tube that we squeeze out of this. So yeah, there we go, nice and flattened. So tube keys come in handy. Get you the extra 10% of your tube that you can't quite get by yourself. So let's grab this yellow here, and let's actually mix it with some of our white. I want to add a brighter yellow. I want to create a brighter yellow. Let's see if I can actually make this some brighter yellows coming into here. So we need some bright yellows coming in here. Oh, there we go. Nice highlighter yellow. And little pops of white yellow here. There you go. Pops into there. Just so it doesn't like disappear. And this is just the impression I'm getting. You know, it's just the impression. Getting these little baby impressions here. Impressions of yellow. C'est impression. Impression de la peinture. So let's go like this. Boom, boom. Get some flowers right here. A little bit of flower action right there. A little bit of flower action. Let's go. Flower action. Some nice bright flower action. Just gonna keep it going. Flower actions here. Flower action. And just building this up, starting from the ground. And where else might I be getting inspiration from? Who can guess? Who knows there are artists, or even my live stream, that might be able to guess where I might be stealing ideas from in my mind right now as far as the aesthetic goes? I've already said Richard Schmidt. I've already said Bob Ross. You know, those are obvious ones. But I have another artist in mind that is a very influential artist who, I'll give you a hint, he was very big on the decorative arts. And he gave artists the permission to, you know, just decorate. Make your painting look beautiful through decoration, not through, you know, perfect capturing and rendering of of every single flower. So who might that be? If anybody knows, feel free to shout it out. Shout, shout, shout on the live stream. All right, I'll give it away. Gustav Klimt. So Gustav Klimt. You know, we all know Gustav, good old Gustav Klimt, right? Who doesn't know him? Gustav Klimt. So, you know, with Gustav Klimt, he started as a like an apprentice decorator. So that was what he did. He just like created decorative arts, and that was his style, right? And you can imagine, you can see his artwork, and you can see the manifestation of all that, which I think is amazing, right? You can look at his artwork and be like, oh, that's where he got, you know, that's why he does so many little details. Because he was a decorative artist. His job was just to figure out how to decorate things. And this came at a time when things were really intricate designs. And, you know, thank goodness for Gustav, because I think he really pushed art as far as decorative art goes. My guess, if I had to like be an authority figure on it or pretend to be an authority, I would say that Gustav Klimt, where he really took everything, was he pushed the decorative arts into a direction where, like, you know, not all decorative art had to be this like this highly detailed, like gold plated lion carved out of a statue thing. He gave decorative arts this like fun where you could just decorate, like decorate without the need to impress, decorating without the need to, like, you know, the need to impress. So we're gonna add this red, and honestly this red's probably a little bit too red as opposed to red needs to be a bit brighter. So let's go, it should be a vermilion. I really should be trying to do a vermilion. Maybe we'll lighten it up. And actually, let's make this flower much bigger here. And, you know, green, red. Like, why does this flower stand out so much? Because there's, you know, there's these other colors around. Hey, watch out, Poop. Watch out, little guy. There's these other colors. Ooh, watch out. Why are you coming this way? And here's what I can do. If I really want, I could go in this with a nice dark blue. I could go in this with a really nice dark blue. And just create some shapes in here, right? Just to create little separations of color, and just experimenting with this, you know, to create shadow. Honestly, I don't really know if I like that, so we might actually not just totally ignore that and like clean up. Well, how else can I use this brush? Got this blue, I got this red. Let's add like a little hints of red in here. Why not? Let's. So let me blend in. Let me blend in these shadows again. Let's go blend it in. Blend it in, blend that in. I probably should have just kept it pure. Let me paint over this and try to like cover it up by. Yeah, I don't really like that. So I kind of like this like flatness. It's like flat red color. I actually like this. Maybe add some more ridges to it. Give it some more curves. Make it look nice and nice and beautiful. You know what I could do? I will add highlights to it. So let's add highlights to this. You know what? I don't really like that either. I just love this. I like it as this like natural, just red. So that's the rest of the job. That's the rest of this gig. Is just painting some more reds all around. Exciting, right? That's the gig. Just painting. That's it. Just painting away. For the rest of our lives. For eternity. For the rest of our lives, we'll be painting. It's one of those things. Once you get into the arts, it's like, that's it, you know? Once you're in it, you gotta commit. You gotta commit to the bit. Commit to the activity. I mean, you could be a hobbyist, sure, but like, you know, being a hobbyist is fine. I'm just saying. If you really want to, I think if you really want to stand out, exceed, try, you know, really engage in your passion, sometimes you gotta be ready to do it for your lifetime. And I'm not even saying you have to do it professionally for your lifetime. I'm just saying, like, you know, be ready to spend a lot of time painting. And it's great, right? It is awesome. That is an awesome thing to be able to do, is to be able to paint for a lifetime. So I'm using up a lot of this Michael Harding red. We're going to go right here, and let's go. Let's actually lighten this. This one's going to be a little bit of a lighter red. This one's going to be slightly lighter of a red. Let's go. This one's going to be rounded here. Rounded here. Let's just paint this in. And let's keep building this up. You know, just building up. We're going to take our reds. And, you know, shout out to the gardener, right? Like, shout out to the gardener who actually built this scene. I think it's one of those things, right? I paint flowers, and, you know, who's the artist that actually made this possible? It's the gardener, the designer of this garden that actually made it possible, right? Like, actually, I'm using a reference photo that I took, but it was on private property. Well, I mean, it's like a public-private space, right? The Getty. But at the end of the day, somebody had to make this possible. So Kat laughed at me, but I'm actually kind of serious, you know? It's like, huh? You did. You laughed at me. You laughed so hard. You just laughed.
What you said, it is true.
So shout out to the gardeners that make beautiful landscapes possible.
And the landscape architect.
And yeah, the landscape architect. It would have been nice though. I would love to one day just be invited to actually paint at the Getty, like live. But maybe after they see this, they'll invite me.
Ask them.
I've asked them before.
What they said.
I think they have special days or something a few times a year. So let's go ahead and build up these reds. And this is a very stylized, you know, painting. I'm not going for realism or anything like that, right? We're not going for realism. We're just painting. I mean, a little bit of realism. You could call it realism, but I just love the contrast of the reds. And I might have to switch it up a little bit. I might need to switch to a different red. But I think what's happening, if I'm thinking about the illusion and I'm trying to like break down what this illusion is. Sorry, my neighbor's smoking. I can smell it. But what's happening with this painting is that there's this like under painting that all these like brush marks that are like darker. If I'm trying to analyze the illusion that's being created here, that's making it look the way. If you like it, if you don't like this style, then ignore everything I'm saying. It doesn't matter. But if you like this style and you want to hear my analysis of it, because honestly, I didn't even know how this would turn out at the beginning. If you want to know my analysis of it, I think it's this contrast of like this very brushy undertone here. So this very brushy effect, darker colors. And then, obviously the red is a complementary color of green. So as you build these greens on top, you're able to create just this like, this beautiful little contrasting, and without painting every single leaf, you're able to get this a beautiful little design, not too fancy, but just enough to. And I'm not using the actual red because the actual red is like very bright vermilion. So I think it actually helps to use this red because it helps to tone down the actual. It tones down the brightness because my phone took a picture in ultra high definition, which means all the colors are like super bright.
Alexa, what time is it?
It's 8:42 p.m.
Let's see, what can we do? We got a bunch of little flowers going around. And let's go like this. We're going to go a bunch of little flowers going around. So let's go little groups of 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Why am I doing groups of 3? Just because. Maybe I'll do a group of 5 right here. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, love this red, by the way. Ooh, this Michael Harding red. Where is it? I might even have to use the whole bottle of this. This Michael Harding red, it's a Scarlet Lake. So I guess that's an actual naphtha yellow granule linseed oil. This is one very vibrant red, as y'all can tell. Very, very vibrant and lively red. And sometimes it's hard to know if it's just because of the colors surrounding it. But it is a very luscious, just very luscious red.
Water or kibble? Both?
And I'm not going to do too much detail as far as stems go. I kind of like just these few random stems popping up. I picked the ones from the image that stood out the most. I just picked the ones that stood out the most. And here we go. I don't want to do too much more. This is just going to be so inundated with so much red. So let's actually tone down a little bit of the red here. I want to try to tone it down with some pink. And we're just going to build a nice little section of red here. I'm just going to go.
More kibble?
So I'm actually going to tone down the red a little bit more. I mean, what's wrong with a lot of red? I don't know. I think it would just totally dominate. Is it dominating? Are the reds totally dominating? I mean, that's okay, right? It's okay for red to totally dominate. Let's add some pink here. That's what we need. It's just a toned down version of our color here. Just a toned down version. I think the deep reds we'll keep in the front, but as we move back, we'll get, we'll tone down our. Well, we might make it brighter, but we're going to turn down the saturation of red. We'll turn down the saturation. That's the right word. Saturation. So we'll tone down the saturation here. What's this section? This section's got a lot going on in this. So I gotta navigate. Let's try to figure this out here. Add a nice little flower petal right there, a nice little flower right there. And if I'm not careful, I think I could mess this painting up with this section. So I'm gonna try to figure out how to navigate this area. I'm gonna figure out how to navigate this section right here. That's the one great thing about painting nature, is that when you paint nature, there's never the pressure. I mean, I don't want to say never. There could always be pressure, but it's like if no one ever sees the actual image, no one ever really thinks like, oh, that doesn't look like the image, right? But if you paint portraits, there's gonna always be that pressure, especially if you're doing it for commission. So, it's just that wonderful thing. Like nature, you could just copy what you're seeing, and somehow it just ends up being amazing. Like painting nature is just naturally just such a fantastical experience. Like it's hard to mess up nature, because unless you're thinking too much. I think the only way you can really mess up a landscape painting is if you're just trying way too hard to make it look like the exact landscape. And you're like comparing it, you're looking back and forth, you're like, oh, I'm going to post it on Reddit. What if people could tell that, what if people judge the horizon line, right? And you have all these overthinking thoughts. And that's when I think you could really mess up a painting that's landscape. And I use Reddit as an example because that was really Reddit was one of the first ways I really dove in and try to like get feedback, get criticism, get ideas. And Reddit's a great place to get feedback. It's a horrible place to learn. You get some good advice, but the majority of the advice that you get is probably bad. But here's why I say it's great for criticism. It's a great place to find criticism because so much of it is just like nonsense. It's a great place to learn about other people's criticisms and stuff. This part is not looking good. I don't like it. What is going on here? So I'm gonna have to figure out what to do with this section because I'm not liking it. It's got like a fleshy color that I'm not really that fond of. So we got 3 little roses right here. So let's go 1, 2, and then 3. We're gonna get nice saturated red in these 3 little roses here. Yeah, I'm gonna have to navigate something to do with this little section right here. I don't know what it is yet. Let's see, how many more flowers we're gonna get? 1, 2, 3. Maybe if I build up this little section right here. How do I navigate that? I think I lost it by making it too smushy. It's just like so smushy right there. So let me see what I can do about this. How can I fix a painting? Happy accidents, people. Happy accidents. How do you fix a happy accident? You make it more happy. You make happier accidents. You make an even happier accident than before. And who can make the happiest accident? I don't know. But let's wipe the rest of this paint off because I might not need the red anymore. So let's go. Just get these nice dense reds. I love this red. Michael Harding makes a very beautiful, brilliant red, as everybody can tell. Or it's a Scarlet Lake. That's actually a very specific color. That's not, you know, like a red. It's very specific. It's a scarlet. Scarlet. And it's a Scarlet Lake. So it's like a red lake. If you've ever seen a red lake, which I don't think anyone has actually ever seen a red lake, that's what it is. All right, let's actually grab some of our yellows. And I want to go into here. And we just want to bring in some yellows. It's nice that, you know, there's some yellows around our purple here. We're going to surround our purple with yellow flowers. You know what? I don't really like this like smushiness, but maybe that could be a thing. You know, just let it be. What if I let it be? What if I just let that smushiness be? At first, I was gonna say I didn't really like it, but what if I let it be? What could possibly happen? You know what? Let's add a green around. Add some green yellows around this thing here. Just make it look like it's a, you know, there's like something going around it. If I had to redo this whole painting over again, I would think more about this section and think more about this section. But it's a little late now, so I might just have to stick with it and allow the errors to just be what they are. But that's not to say that we're going to give up. There is some stuff that we could do. So how are we going to do that? Let me take a nice small brush here. We're going to grab, so we're going to use one of our new brushes, the Rosemary & Co. Richard Schmidt collection. And we're going to go for a red dot, which is, red dot I believe is a like a red, some sort of sable. It's a type of weasel hair brush. So I get this from Rosemary & Co. Hopefully they're ethically sourced. I don't actually know, to be honest. I'm sure they're ethically sourced. I shouldn't even question that, but of course Rosemary & Co. would ethically source their weasel hairs. Actually, you know, I don't even know if red dot is actual weasel hair, by the way. It's just red. I assume anything with the word red in it, as far as brush bristles go, are red sable. But honestly, this looks a little bit lighter than sable, which is weasel hair. So, yeah, this could be something else. But let's actually fix this section right here. We're going to go in, and how are we going to do this? Let's see. Let's grab some yellows. And I just want to fix this, like, how do we clean this up, you know? I think this will clean it up actually. Just give it this like brushed effect here. Yeah, actually, yeah, it actually kind of works. Yeah, yeah. So we're gonna give it some highlight here. Just like push around some of the colors. Give our green some pop. I think this should help us to adjust this little section of red here. Let's go with our yellow here and just bring the yellow up. Oh. And this little section just there's a lot going on. You know what? We could probably do this to this section too. Is this just a crutch for bad painting, or is it's an actual design choice? Who knows? So let's break up this yellow pattern here and go around. Allow some of it to show, but we also want to, like, you know, break some of it up and just see how this can create an illusion of excellence. Yeah, there we go. That actually worked. You know, we're creating an illusion of excellence. There we go. Cutting off some of it so that, you know, it kind of looks like it's supposed to be there. And it is at this point, but before it was... You know, before it was supposed to be there, it's just I didn't like the way it looked. And I should have put a little bit more thought into how I was going to design that section, but... Because there's lots of yellow here. And actually, let's build up. Let's build up into here too. So we're gonna go right into this tree. We're just gonna catch some of the grass.
Hey guys, hey, drink red, in the bedroom.
I just want to add this illusion actually. So let's create this illusion of we're just gonna get a brushed effect here. So how do you make illusions? You just paint them. You just let's get this illusion of color here. Break up this space a little bit, because otherwise it's a little boring. You know, just this big chunk of empty space right here. There we go, some nice yellows, some good shadows going on. Some purples right there. Looks pretty vibrant, right? It's a little vibrant little section there. We could probably do this all the way up too. We'll do this all the way up. Let's go grab this yellow. It's gonna go all the way up. And how do I want to decorate this some more? I don't really want to decorate this too much more, but a little bit more. Let's go bring a yellow flower here. Some yellow flowers there. Yellow flower there. And like bigger as it gets closer. That shouldn't be there, but that's okay. Let's see. This little section here. So let's go. I'm gonna clean off this brush. Brush has lasted us. Actually, you know what? Let's keep this brush. I'm gonna clean off my other brushes. What color is this? This has a lot of purple, so let's try to bring back some of this purple. So I'm just saying I do want to use this red sable brush. And what I want to do with it is I want to capture some leaves. Just add some, still a little bit more detail. I feel like, you know, some of this could be fleshed out a little better. So right under here, we're going to capture a leaf right here. Just add some nice bright leaves, you know, just to get a design going, you know, just capture something a little bit natural. Abstract leaves though. We're going to abstractify the leaf work. Let's add some darker greens here. Let's see how we can. I don't want to add too much. Shout out to the gardener who designed all this, you know, like this wouldn't be possible without the gardener. Let's give this like arms. Looks like it's a moving, flowing body there, right? And let's go up in here. We're gonna go. I'm gonna go. So we're gonna go up in here. We're gonna go. Let's see, where would be a good place? Right here? Nope, just to the right of there. Right of there. Let's see, how much further do I want to push this? Let's go with some darker leaf colors. We'll go with some darker leaf colors. Let's just, you know, get some shadow leaves in here. Get some shadow leaves into here. Shadow leaf. We're just using a darker leaf, darker green, just to capture some shadow leaves. And you know what? Let's give this one some shadow. So there we go. We got some different colors. And what else can we play with? I like where this is at. We're gonna leave our trees. The trees are gonna be pretty abstracted. I want to bring in some more yellows and greens. Just a couple more leaves. Not too many more. I don't want this to be overly inundated with leafery, right? That's not the point. This is one good thing about big paintings, though. Like, if you go big, you kind of have, like, a lot more room to just, like, fill in creatively. Like, if I did this on a small painting, it wouldn't work the same, right? Because I would have all this, like, space. And I feel like if all of this space was, like, all of this extra space condensed, like, super condensed into, like, a small, tiny painting, it just wouldn't feel the same. But because it's fairly large, I think it gives this illusion of, like, you know, this, like, negative space that's like, got this interesting coloration to it. That's just my theory, though. I have a lot of theories about stuff. And usually, you know, it may or may not be right. May or may not. But I do like the shadow. You know, these like darker areas with the lighter areas, and let me see what I could do about some of these empty spaces here. I could fill in these empty spaces. Not too much, just a little to give an idea, right? I want to give the idea of things. Just because they're closer, you know, they're closer to the viewer. So like maybe I have a chance to paint it bigger, and then just as it all gets pushed back, to just let it be. Let it be, let it be. I don't think that's the actual song. Let It Go is the song. So we're gonna go into these reds, and let's just crisscross here. Crisscross, 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 crisscross. There's a lot of space here. So how can I really play with this space? Some small brushwork here. Crisscross, crisscross. And I think, you know, the colors themselves actually do the work. Which is why if you're good at being like very playful, can't stay up. Hey, thank you, thank you. Oh, thank you. Third stream of the day, yes. Oh wow, okay, everybody just popped in and started saying stuff. Thank you. All right. So yeah, it's getting late. I'm almost done. I think at this point I'm just kind of like just filling stuff in. I'm not really like. But what was I saying? I was saying crisscross, crisscross, applesauce, something, something. Got distracted. What was I was saying something. It could have been important. It could have not been important. Crisscross, crisscross. And let's go crisscross all the way up. I'm actually liking this painting. I like it where it's at, you know, just capturing some of these ideas just as we come across. I don't want to leave too many big empty spaces. but I also don't want to fill in everything, every little space. And honestly, I think we've got it. All except for some minor details on this building. There's just like, it's just like too flat. There are supposed to be certain colors on this building here. So, you know what? Let me just do a little bit more crisscrossing here. Crisscross. I don't want to get too detailed. And let's go with a nice small brush here. We're actually about to wrap this up. I don't think I'm gonna, I think we're almost done. Let's go, clean this off. I want a slightly rougher brush, so I'm gonna go for this really dry, like stiff. This brush is really dry and stiff, so we're gonna go for this really dry, stiff brush. Let's just see what we can do. I'm gonna capture some dark browns in this. This brush might be a little too rough. I just want to give this, building a little bit more dimension. Give it some more roughness because it's all stone. This is an all stone building if you've never been to the Getty before. It's a stone building. So to have like no textures on it would just be bizarre. And maybe let's grab some green. I want to give it a rough look. Let's go back to this brown here. Let's go down over here. Is that helping? Yeah, a little bit. I think it's working a little bit. Should definitely be should definitely be like more of a gray too. I think it's not dirty, it's just I don't know, what do we think? try to find a darker yellow ochre. I'm gonna find like a nice dark yellow ochre and go into some of these areas here. Scrape away at some of this. What am I doing? I don't like that. Alright. Maybe I'll just keep it flat. Let's just keep it flat. Let's just keep it flat. So let me go back over this. Let's grab a yellow ochre, grab our yellow, mix it in, get it nice and thick. Mix in our mineral spirit. I'm just going to paint over this section here. You know what? I think this extra layer of these extra details, it's actually mingling into the paint, which means that it will create a texture anyway. So I think we're good. I think as long as we just no, it's just flat. It just doesn't look good. It just looks kind of lame, in my opinion. I think this looks more like a real building now. Or maybe it doesn't need to be like a real building. This thing's out of shape. Little by little, I think it's doing something. So let's actually build up some more color. We're gonna add little streaks of white here. Let's go extra streaks of highlight, white. Let's just try to build in some highlight here. I'm just gonna go little bits of highlight there, highlight there, highlight there, highlight there, highlight there. Nice tight buildings. Nice and loose. And then let's see if we can just bring in a hint of shadow, just the tiniest bit, without messing this all up. And how do we do that? We just gotta find a nice darker shade. Let's just see if we could do this. This down. This down. Just give this extra shadow. A little section right there. A little section right there. Section right there, shadow. Another section of shadow right there. I wonder how specific the designer picked these bricks. And whether they were all, perfectly chosen for their design from a distance, or whether they were just selected for being large and in charge. Let's just go, we're gonna go flat across here. You know what? That's a little better. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. It's got like a rough texture design to it. And I think we could leave this, right? What's this section right here? This section is so red. There's so much red in this section. I think I need a little bit more green. Let's go ahead and take that, get that. I want some light greens. So right here, let's get some leaves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What am I counting 5 for? I'm just using a pattern. It's not a specific pattern, just. This seems to be a really popular thing now, like painting around objects. Let's go like this.
Oh wow, these flowers. Nice.
Thank you. I'm almost done.
Hey, little mice.
We'll brighten up this section a little bit. Brighten up this section. And there's going to be some dirt down here, so there will be some dirt, which means that this doesn't need to totally be colored down.
What's wrong?
He's like, nah.
Tell me in English.
He's like, nah.
What do you need?
All right, you know what? I think I'm gonna call this a night here. We're gonna call this the night. This is our painting. Now, of course, things can always change. You know, people change. Did you know that every 7 years your body has totally replaced all of its cells? That's a fact. Every 7 to 10 years, your body has replaced every single cell in your body. According to what somebody told me. Alright, so let's get this, and we're going to get our red. Let's find the rest of our red to add our signature. Let's go down here. And there we go. Let's wrap up. I'll close our supplies here. And call it a night. All right, everybody, take care. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning in.